everyone, welcome to AudioTuers. In today's video also we are going to continue with the first chapter, that is crop production and management, that is chapter 1 of CBSE classes. In this video we are going to cover the topic that is protection of crops, harvesting, threshing, winnowing and storage of the crops. Let's begin with the positive thought. The thought says that every day do something that takes closer to a better tomorrow. Okay, so keep on taking those smaller steps. So whenever we think of the protection of crop, this image comes in our mind. Okay, so what is basically involved in the protection of crops? What do we need to protect the crops from? So we need to protect the crop from these two basic things. What are those things? The first one is the weeds. Okay, what are these weeds? Weeds are the unwanted plants. That means I want to grow the wheat, or I want to grow the rice, I want to grow pulses, but along with the wheat, rice or pulses, several unwanted plants grow in that same field. So those are called weed. Like you're aware, this bathua which we eat, that grows as a weed in the wheat crop. Okay, bathua grows as a weed in wheat crops. Okay, गेहूं के साथ बथुआ as a weed grow होता है. Fine. So what are these weeds? Weeds are unwanted plants, and how they can be removed? This process of removing unwanted plants is called as weeding. And how it can be done? Either it can be done manually, that is using hands. They are plucked, that means they are uprooted either with the roots or closer to the ground, and this has to be done before the flowering. Otherwise the seeds, once the seeds will grow, then the seeds will again spread in the soil, and the next season will have more of these weeds. So that has to be done very carefully. So this manually weeding has to be done in the early stages of its growth. Second, the weeding can also be done by using the chemicals which are called as weedicides, like 2,4-D. Like if a farmer is having a huge land, then he may not be able to do the weeding manually. So they spray the weedicide. Second thing, what we need to protect the crop from, the second thing, that is the pests. Okay, what are pests? Pests are harmful insects. Any harmful insects which we call, sometimes a few days back we would had that tiddy dal. So those are the unwanted insects. That means they are harmful insects which can harm the crop because they will eat away the leaves of the crop. So that is something which has attacked from outside. But sometimes there are many insects which are growing in a particular area, and they can harm the crop. So that is what needs to be protected from. So the pests have to be removed from the crop by using pesticides. So you can see the farmer, he is spraying the pesticides here. He has used this system of pipes which is sprinkling this pesticide, you can see here, in this huge field. And what pesticides can be used? Butachlor and many other pesticides are available in the market. They are in a highly concentrated amount. So they are first taken in a small amount and then they are diluted. That means even a very small, for example, one cap of that pesticide is dissolved in 50 liters of water or something. That is the direction is given on that bottle. And that is very harmful. That is very poisonous chemicals. You can understand, if it can kill the insects, it can kill us also if it is taken in more amount. So we need to take care of that. Fine. So these pests are killed using pesticides, and pesticides is sprayed in the field. Fine. And you can see here that the farmer is removing the weeds using its hand. Okay, so these are the two things for the protection. Now moving on further to the harvesting, threshing and winnowing, that is the next step. So what is doing? Once our crop is mature, you can see here the crop is mature. Crop is mature means the seeds have developed fully, and after its development the crop have dried 70 to 80%. Okay, that is the crop. Once it matures, that means we are aware that now it's a time to harvest. Now what has to be done? What is harvesting in that? Harvesting means cutting the crop from the field. Okay, that can be done either using the sickle manually. If the farmer has a small piece of land, it can do harvesting using sickle, and if it's a huge piece of land, then the harvester machine can be used or the combine can be used. Fine. The second step after harvesting is threshing. Now the plant stalk and seeds has to be separated. So for that the threshing is done. You can see in the machine here that this this farmer is cutting from this side because it's a combine. So the harvesting is being done from this side, and after going into this machine, the small stalk parts of the chaff part of that crop is getting removed from the machine from here. So this is threshing. The threshing, different threshing machines are available for the different crops, and several combined threshers are available which can also be used for different crops. So that depends on the farmer which type of thresher it uses. Okay, so what is threshing? Threshing means separating the seeds from the chaff or the stalk part of the plant. The leaves part, the stem part, the root part are separated from the seeds. Right? And the third step which you can see here is what the farmer is doing. It is using the wind and separating the heavy part, that is this one, and the lighter part. When the wind blows, it takes away the lighter part away. So you can see the heavy seeds falls here and the lighter chaff part goes here. So here the air is used and the heavy seeds are separated from the lighter, smaller parts of the stalk if something is left with the seeds. Okay, and that is called as winnowing. So winnowing is again separating the seeds from the chaff. Okay, it can again be done manually, and there are some winnowing machines also which has like having like a huge fans inside it, and they blow the air. So with that also the farmer can do the winnowing purpose. So that is harvesting, threshing and winnowing. Fine. Once this has been done and we have got our the farmer has got its yield or the seeds or the production which has it wanted. Fine. Now the next thing comes as what it can do with it. Either it can sell it in the market, either the farmer has to store it for himself or the whole family, or the farmer can sell some and can store some. Now how the storage has to be done. Okay, and before we store the grains, there are some things which we need to do, like what the storage is done to protect the grains from. Why can't I keep this grains somewhere near in my home or in the room or in the hall? Okay, so what the grains need to be protected from? Okay, why the storage is required? First, the storage is required to protect the seeds from the grains from moisture, because if it will remain out and will not be stored in some containers, it will absorb the moisture from the air. Okay, second thing, it needs to be protected from the insects. Third, it needs to be protected from the rodents, that is rat and the family of rats. Okay, and the fourth, it needs to be protected from microorganisms like fungus can grow on the wheat or rice or such things. Okay, now how this affect, let's discuss in the next, that before storage we have to take care that how it has to be stored properly. Okay, the first point we need to be the points which has to be taken care before storage are that seeds should be properly dried. Now we were talking about that seeds has to be protected from the moisture. Now how does this moisture affect? Like you would have seen that you can store this dry things for a longer time. Even if you talk about your edible things, other edible things, not the grains, you can see that you can observe in the kitchen also. You can store the dry things for a longer time, and you cannot store, like you can store biscuits for a long time. Okay, biscuits, if they are completely packed and kept properly, then they can be used for a long time. But if you can try to keep the chapati intact outside for a longer time, can you use the same chapati after 4 days, 5 days? No, we can't use it, because the microorganisms which are present in the air, because chapati has a lot of moisture in it, lot of water content in it. So what will happen? Those microorganisms from the atmosphere will attack on the chapati and will grow on it. Then that's why you would have seen, if you have left your tiffin unopened for 2 or 3 days, the smell comes and the fungus grows in it. The reason being, because the chapati or the bread or some things which we prepare generally has a lot of moisture in them. And that's the reason they can grow. So before we store the grains, we have to dry them properly. So what the farmer do? They spread the yield in a large area and let the sunlight fall on it. And when the sunlight will fall on the seeds, the moisture will dry up. Moisture will dry out. The extra water content in the seeds will dry up. Okay, and so what will happen by this? The insects and germs or bacteria or fungus will not be able to grow easily on these seeds. Okay, so that has to be taken care. Fine. Now, next thing is, how are grains stored? So, on a smaller scale, if a farmer has to store for itself, it can store in the jute bags. It can store in the metal containers. For the jute bags, you have to use it before the rainy season comes again, and when the moisture content increases, the seeds which are stored inside jute bags only can get the attack of a fungus, or some insects can again grow because the seeds will absorb moisture. So better to store them in an airtight thing, or the metal containers. If you are storing in a metal container, you can make it airtight by putting a plastic over it and then making it proper airtight. So that will protect the extra moisture from entering into seeds and from getting the seeds spoiled. Fine. Second thing, on a large scale, like when a lot of agencies buy, or a lot of governments buy these seeds for the emergency or conditions like natural disasters, the government buy the product. So where do they store those thousands of quintals? They store them in the silos or granaries. Okay, silos are like this, like huge containers like this. So these are the silos. Okay, different types or structures of silos are there. Some are made above the ground as well. Okay, and some are stored in the granaries. Granaries is like this. Okay, so there are many rooms in the granaries where the different products can be stored. Fine, that is about that, how the grains can be stored. The next thing is the food and care for animals. Like when we talk about different animals and when we talk about ourselves, we get our food from the crops. But similarly, other animals also need to be taken care. And what do they eat? You should know about that as well. So when we talk about animals in our houses or the animals which are kept in farm, they also need to be given some food. So what can be provided to them? You can provide them fodder, that the dry grass, or we can also provide them the green grass, and several different plants are also grown like a crop for giving it to the animals. Fine. The next thing we has to be done is the animals should be provided the shelter and proper care. When they fall sick, we have to provide them proper medicines, care, and we have to keep them in a proper clean hygienic conditions in a proper shelter. Okay, and the next thing, that what is this proper way of keeping the animals, rearing them in a large number and taking good care of them, that is called as animal husbandry. This is one of the branch of agriculture. Fine. So that's all for today. If you have any question, you can ask. You can see this cow is being provided the fodder. Here the cows has been kept properly in a field, and they have been provided dry fodder. Okay. If you have any question, you can leave in the comment, or you have any suggestion for me to make this content more interesting, more enjoyable, please write in the comment. If you liked it, you can share it with your friends. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.